Hey guys, Emmy Fisher here with Navy Nomad, back with another video. I know it's been a while, but I've been out of town and I'm about to go out of town again for another week, so I wanted to hurry up and get a video out in between that before I leave on, not vacation, going to an IB conference, but before I leave on that, because I won't be able to make any videos until I get back from that. Anyway, this video is going to sort of be about three things. Number one, starter base. All right, we're back on the center map. Center maps ended up being really my favorite map. I don't really know why. I thought Scorched Earth was going to be, and I do really love Scorched Earth, but something about all the water and the rain and the fact that it looks like the South China Sea, it's just really sort of calm and peaceful for Ark, relatively, for me. Hearing the water a lot, because I live in a desert, so water, I hear it just makes me happy. So I've really grown to love the center map. Whenever I play just for myself, it's generally on the center map. It's also the least glitchy of the several maps that Ark has, except for maybe the island. So yeah, I tend to like to play on the less glitchy maps. Now I don't have great internet connections, so that might be contributing to the glitchiness, but in any case, we are on the center map. Now, so starter base is sort of part one. Number two, some tips and tricks on how I like to start a game in Ark. And then number three, giving you a hint of what the next few episodes are going to be like. I do have these few episodes planned out. It's going to be about stilt houses from various parts of the world, but focusing once again on sort of the Pacific, Polynesia, Asia, Southeast Asia. So we're going to be taking a look at some of those historical styles of stilt houses. See some European ones as well, because there are European ones. And that's kind of what I'm going to do, because this is really a great map for that. So I'm going to start off with actually number two, tips and tricks on how I like to start an Ark game. Now obviously, this is what I like to do. You might think it's a cool idea. You might do your own thing. That's fine. And obviously it sort of depends on which map that you are on. This works for most maps, but for some it may not be your best first option. But what I like to do when I first start off on a map is I don't necessarily want to build a base right away or build a hut right away. I could, but if it's a map like the center or the island or an area where fortitude is not really an issue, you know, the elements are not really an issue, what I like to do is run around and just level up for a bit. I like to level up until I can at least build a wooden ladder, or the first ladder option. And the reason for this is that my sort of starting concept when I start an Ark game is to find an area that's relatively close to your basic resources. Okay, you need trees, you need fiber, you need water, okay? And I like to build up and out of reach somewhere, all right? Now, this obviously is a really great idea for any map that has any sense of verticality about it. Like, you can do this on the island. Obviously, not nearly as many cliffs and things like that on the island as there are in the center or in parts of Ragnarok or Aberration or Extinction. But most of those maps have a lot of verticality to them, particularly Aberration, particularly the center, particularly Extinction. So, you find an area and you place you can literally do this anywhere. You place a foundation on the ground, you build ladders up as far as you want to, and then you just kind of are on that ladder, you open up your foundation, and you can stick foundations really anywhere. So if I were to take this, I'm in creative mode right now just so I can fly and show you ideas, but I have not been using creative mode on this map. But look, you can stick a foundation practically anywhere, all right? It doesn't even necessarily have to be a ledge. You got a ledge where you can stick more than one, which happens a lot on these vertical maps. You can do that. But this is just, I mean, look at, you can stick these anywhere, all right? And that's really all you need when you are starting out, particularly if you're a solo player, particularly if you're PvE. So, you place your foundation somewhere. If you can fit more than one foundation, fantastic. If not, that's okay. That's what ceilings are for. Now, obviously, you can't necessarily build these things too far out. There is a placement issue with ceilings and foundational support, which you already know if you've been playing Ark. But you can get, you know, with one foundation, you know, a 3x2, even a 3x3, depending. if you're on a pinnacle or if you're on the side of a cliff. And that's really all you need for a starter base, all right? Technically with a starter base, if you really want to jam-pack stuff in there, you can fit everything that you need into a 1x2. We're not necessarily going to go that tiny here, but basically what happened is I spawned on, we are at Jungle South. I did not mean to spawn on Jungle South. My sister wanted me to spawn on Tropical Island North, and I highlighted Tropical Island North, and it spawned me in on Jungle South, on this sort of beaver pond up there. Nearly got eaten by a Carno. But this should look familiar to you. This is sort of that well-known ruin area. There's ruins all in these rocks around here. They look fantastic, but I don't necessarily like to build in the ruins because there's still flat areas where dinos can maybe not necessarily wander in there as easily, but definitely chase you in there, so I didn't want to do that. But out here is this archway. I don't know, it's an archway, maybe it used to be an aqueduct, doesn't look like an aqueduct, but it's really cool. It's really narrow. So what I did is I built a thatched foundation down on the ground, built ladders up to right above the archway, and then I just hopped up the ladder, went over it, and landed on the archway. From there, I laid a row of 1x6, about 6 across here, foundations. It was all originally in thatch, of course. I've updated that with the wood because I like the wooden deck look a little bit better. I do love thatch though, so if you're building up high, you don't really need to worry about the higher defense level building material either, so that's a plus. But anyway, I laid a 1x6 and then I went 1 out with these ceilings, okay? And the reason I didn't go 2 out, even though you can, is because then you can't place any objects on the far edges due to foundational support. And I like to have railings to prevent me from falling off of stuff. It happens. Now, eventually you level up to the point where you won't kill yourself falling off of something like this, but the railings make it look nice too. I like to build things that look nice. I built an A-frame on here because that's just what I felt like doing. I like sloped roofs. This is based on a historical Polynesian style building. They did all sorts of shapes of buildings on stilts, etc. So this is not what... Definitely not what all Polynesian houses look like. Most of them don't actually have the A-frame, but I've seen them. I've got the basics in here. I got storage, I got mortar and pestle, I've got my fireplace, got my bed. Alright, I could fit a lot in here if I wanted to. I could fit my smithy, my foundries, or forge, a whole bunch of stuff. I'm on Primitive Plus. I've got torches for when it's nighttime. I've got my preserving fire, forge, smithy out here. And the cool thing is, even if you don't have a huge platform, you can always build up. So you could have, your basic tiny base, even if it's a 2x2 down below or a 1x2, you just build up. You use ladders to kind of keep getting up. You can make a greenhouse, you can make a farming area, you can make a platform for your flyers, all sorts of stuff. And, you could pepper all of these areas around here with little sections and connect them, with ramps and ladders and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I really like to do. I like to find somewhere where I can get a ladder up, stick some foundations, some ceilings on the side, build something on the side of a cliff or on something like this. Obviously, once you do that, you're going to get rid of your original ladders and you're going to build the ladders down from the edge of your foundation or the edge of your ceiling, because that way everything's going to line up a lot easier. And as long as you keep a few extra ladders on hand or the materials to make them in case something destroys those lower few ladders, you're pretty much golden. Anything that attacks you, you can just fire down on it from above. Alright? Now, this one is about 6 or 7 stories high, so nothing except a sauropod, so a bronto. Okay, a bronto could probably reach up here, and a giga, because they're way oversized in this game, could probably reach up here. I don't think even a Rex could reach up here. Rex is not going to reach up here either. So, yeah, except for those couple of really big things, you're really not going to have any issues. And I've built in an area where stuff falling down from above isn't really going to be much of an issue as well. That is something that you may want to consider. I usually find in situations like this with these cliffs that things falling down from above aren't an issue. If you build right up against the cliff, it's just going to run right off your roof when it tries to reach you, and it's just going to keep on going down. So, Really great, fairly early game solution to the potentially getting killed all the time problem. Now, once again, this is Primitive Plus, so there's a lot more materials that you could potentially use on Primitive Plus than, say, a regular game. Regular game, you got your smithy, you got your forge, you got a preserving bin. That's your basic bit right there, and then whatever you want to put inside your house. Out here, I've got this little sort of lagoon area. I plan to build several other different styles of stilt houses out here. Probably not in creative mode, probably just doing my own thing. They're not going to be huge. We're going to do probably a European Neolithic style one. We have several that were in some lake areas in what is now modern day Germany, so looking forward to doing that. I'm going to try and do some Asian or Southeast Asian themed ones, maybe some South American themed ones as well. So we're going to try and get a plethora of platforms going on out here. I've got the dino count in this game down really, not really low, but fairly low to try and make it more realistic, alright? If you were to go back to the Mesozoic, you wouldn't be seeing, like, dinosaurs spawning in around every single corner. They're not going to be, it's like if you go out into the wild today. Do you, like, go out into the forest and suddenly see, like, a ton of animals just chilling there? No. Alright? So I wanted to get that a little bit more realistic. Obviously, the predator-prey ratio in Ark is completely shot, so let's not even talk about that. Obviously, there's way too many predator animals than there are prey animals. But yeah, that's what you're going to see in some future episodes on some stilts. Now, once again, I tend to bounce around in my videos. I don't want to do the same thing, for weeks on end because I like to change it up. A lot of these videos and a lot of these areas I will come back to and add to in the future, or I will come back and do something or redo something inspired by a previous video that I did. I'm not necessarily the type of person to sit there and build like all of Hogwarts Castle after, in a month kind of deal. If it's something I can't build in a day, it's not necessarily going to happen. If it is something larger, it'll be creative mode. I generally like building small. I'm solo PvE player, so I like to build a lot of those. But every once in a while I get the urge to do something medium-sized or large-sized. Now my idea of medium or large is different. I've seen people make videos of quote-unquote small Ark builds, and to me they're huge. So I guess I should clarify that I like to do really small stuff. So this to me is small. It's not tiny, but it's small. I do plan to do some really tiny builds for those of you that really want to minimize space, just to kind of play around with exactly how much you can fit in something. So I plan to do that in the future as well. But anyway, this is my starter base for Primitive Plus center map. Off the ground, stilt style, out of the way. Sort of a A-frame house here out of thatch. If you liked this video, please hit that like button, subscribe for future videos on historical themed builds, starter base builds, PvE, etc. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in a future video.